Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Art House. Beep, 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 beep. Art House. No art at all on these walls, baby. None at all. But why? Because we're waiting for the foil sheets, the uncut foil sheets. And I just got a new painting in today. I do have several paintings that are going to be framed. They're going to be hanging up in the back there someday, but it's a work in progress. What we're here for today is a market update. So it's been about a week and a half. Last weekend, what was it? Friday, Saturday night, something like that. The baby passed out early, and we had an impromptu, just off the cuff live event. And Tony Sudlow, excuse me. Tony joined us, and Gadu Duaso, two great alpha artists. We had a fun, great conversation. Tony's going through a bit of an injury right now, but what I wanted to talk about before we get to the market update, like we usually do, is show a few things coming up at Collector Arthouse. So through the auctions at the Sorcery Contested Realm community group and the Collector Arthouse Discord, always linked below in the link tree in the description. What we're going to have going tonight is a first avatar offering from Tony. So this is Tony's Death Speaker. He's numbered this number 4 of 25. And actually, right before filming, I actually butchered myself with my axe tool. If you guys have seen some of my lives, it's pretty hilarious. I got this big axe that I use as my cutting device, and I cut my finger with it tonight. But little gash, no big deal. Little Band-Aid, no problem. All right, so the Death Speaker, number 4 of 25. He had committed the first few. I think this might actually be the first that he's painted, but he has a couple others that he's committed to people for various orders. He actually did a trade with a guy for a foil, so he's working on those. But this is the first one that's going to be offered through auction. That's why it's numbered number 4, signed by Tony, Anthony P. Sudlow, and it's a Death Speaker avatar with this beautiful new take on the, as he called it, the Necromancer, which was the original name, now known as the Death Speaker. So a beautiful card, amazing painting by Tony. It's a little off in the case here. It is nicely centered, but yeah, it's just kind of tilted in the case here. But that's a beautiful painting going live tonight. What's tonight? August 9th, 2023. 24-hour auction that'll go live at 8 p.m. Eastern on Sorcery Contested Realm community, Facebook group, and the Collector Arthouse Discord. And then coming up, we have a couple Curios. So I kind of teased it with the image. You know, we got the biggest of the biggest cards coming through the Collector Arthouse. And these are two that are going to be coming up for auction soon. So we're going to get into it. What is the price of Curio cards? What are the valuations? And some of the other, sealed product, the typical things we look at from eBay sales and other sources. But what we'll have coming up is that Francesca Beralde sketch card for Eric's Curiosa. So this is one of the big-time Curios. I auctioned one of these, maybe almost a month ago, 3-4 weeks ago. Pretty successful, but only sold for like $1,200. And I say only, it sounds crazy for a new game, but $1,200. Curios are really popping off now, guys. They're extremely coveted and chased, and I think there's might be 14 or 15 copies of this discovered so far. So there's a lot of rumor and speculation. Everyone's guessing at the pop size. Personally, I think it's probably, what makes sense to me is maybe 50-ish, I'll say. 50 to 100 at the extreme high. But given the fact that we found about almost 15, and this is across like social media, right? And people reaching out across the Discords, across Facebook. There's a lot of sealed products still out there. There's a lot of people that aren't on any social media at all, right? So I want to say there's probably several that are undiscovered thus far. So at least double it and you're quickly at 30. And this is the most recognizable one. So it's interesting. This has been the most discovered Curio, as you would expect, because it's easy to discover, right? So my guess is, let's call it 50 to 100. That still makes it at least twice as rare, more than twice as rare, 2.5 times as rare as the unique foils. So Curios are very rare, very desirable. That is the Eric's Curiosa sketch card by Francesca Beralde. And then we'll have Drew Tucker's. This is actually not the exact copy that'll be for sale. That's still on its way. Someone mailed it to me. But I'm just kind of previewing this Curio and previewed several in the thumbnail. But this is just these two will become an auction in the near term, okay? And they'll be coming separately. Just, stay tuned to the Facebook group daily, the Collector Arthouse Discord. That's where I make announcements across those platforms. But this is a gorgeous artwork by Drew. Really iconic, legendary site. The legendary typeline text there no longer exists as a card type or a rarity type. Some of the symbology is different. So it just has this awesome old classic feel with the set symbols. Kickstarter 2019, obviously got delayed a little bit beyond that. 25 of 300 full art. It said that might have just been a template design. We really don't know from the print file and art by Drew Tucker. So really cool one. Those will be great. I'm doing sample pack breaks, so I have one up now. Collector Arthouse Discord is usually where I take orders for that. 13 of the 15 slots have been sold on these, but there's a couple more to go. I have several packs, so we'll do more breaks. Those are a ton of fun, really interesting, awesome finds. Cards that are not in the alpha set exist in sample form, which is really cool. And then lastly, this thing here, let's take this out really quick. So the person that sent me one of the Curios you saw in the teaser video also sent me this pack very nicely. And I think I gotta reach back out to him to see what he wants to do with this. We might have a giveaway event potentially. So stay tuned to the channel here. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow along for announcements on that. But he claims that he found this pack. Notice it's in a clear, it's like a box topper type pack, right? And it was found within his booster box, not at the top. He's still at a box topper. From what I understand, I'll verify that. And this was also found within there. And Iron Shackles is not a card that's in the box topper, you know, but it does have the alpha symbol. So it's not like it's a sample pack either. It's really mysterious what this is and what might be in there. And I could probably kind of shimmy these cards to the side. Like I see like a Bedrock in there. It's maybe there's a Beast of Burden. You can tell by some of the coloration on the borders. I'm sometimes able to guess what some of these cards are. But I haven't messed with it. And I kind of want it to be a surprise. And if we do a giveaway or something, we'll open that up live. I'll announce when that'll be. Just follow along on the channel and across my various platforms. Again, in Linktree, you can find all my platforms. And we'll get into this. And it's very generous of him to send this to me. It's really cool. We don't know what's inside. You know, it's a credibility thing. Like, you don't know. It would be difficult to resell, right? Because it's the guy's word. He didn't open it up on camera. He claims it was in the box. And, you know, so we'll find out. What was it doing in there? How did it get in there? What is inside this pack? Very interesting. And I really appreciate him sending me this. Even if I just open it up on channel, it'll be very fascinating to speculate how this might have happened. All right. So that's it for the preamble. And now we'll go to the interwebs and see what's going on with the market. So thank you guys for bearing with me on that. Put some of this stuff aside. And lastly, before we cut away to that, I did want to thank a very generous person who I've met through Discord and Facebook sent me this. He recently visited the Frazetta Museum. It's up in, where is it? Oh, man, I forget the town up in Pennsylvania. But it's about, I want to say 45 minutes to an hour north of where they have the IX Art Show in Reading, Pennsylvania. And he visited there recently. I mentioned the IX Art Show because that's a show I like to go to each year and meet the artists. I went last year for the first time and planning to get out there this year to meet the 5 sorcery artists that'll be there this year. If you're interested who that is, just mention it in the comments and remind me later to let you know. But he visited the museum. He offered to send me this beautiful playmat. Actually, he surprised me with this. I didn't know what he was going to send. He sent me the playmat and this awesome book. I actually just opened it today, so I haven't gotten into it yet. But it's amazing, fantastic paintings of Frazetta. And I noticed, where was it? Like on the back? Yeah, you see some of the previews of the ruler, you know, the Death Dealer. So you have some of the artworks that are licensed for sorcery. There's Frank, looking like a stud. Good-looking guy. Could have been an actor. But that's a great book. Large hardback. Very, very nice and generous of him. I really appreciate that. So I wanted to say thank you and extend that. All right, so let's go to the internet now. And that is not it. All right, guys. Here we go. We're going to go to, this is what we'll do. Ready? Boom. Boom. 130point.com, right? And just before we jump there, we're going to go to Facebook. I'm going to show you really quick where these auctions will be hosted. So if you go to Facebook and then the Sorcery Contested Realm community group, we have about 2,400 members currently. Here is the preview. I said there was no auction tonight. This is a few days ago, so there will be an auction tonight. But this was the Death Speaker preview. So that's the face of the card and the back. Amazing artwork by Tony. And going back to the cover page here, there's a lot going on. A lot of information was coming out about grading. So there's some mixed reporting on grading, and that was coming out of the Collector Arthouse Discord. So let me jump there for a moment. And there is my laptop humming. All right, so I got to renew my account. It's about to get blasted. So if you go to this is the Collector Arthouse Discord, right? So a lot of people were posting today in my speculation channel, and They were including screenshots as things were coming back from BGS. Take a look here. We don't have the ability to block cards that have already been graded when we have the active. Oh, okay. So that's that's actually a new update I haven't seen recently. So the first one he sent here was from an employee that says this is from BGS. We currently do not grade this set. Some may have slipped out because we've seen a few Philosopher's Stones actually graded already. But the grading team has decided at this point not to grade. Our grading team is gathering information and will determine if and when we grade the set in the future. All right, so we're getting that back. Someone else here got a letter back that said it would not be graded, not enough information. Actually, the same poster that was a follow-up from what he had originally said. a few other people chiming in here. So there's several reports. Here's another one, right, from a different person that got it back. We do not have samples of this TCG. All right, so what they mean here, I think, by samples, someone astutely pointed out that they mean that the company usually sends a couple cases of cards, so the grading company can baseline the quality of the cards and use that as a frame of reference to actually do the grade scoring. So I actually give BGS kudos for that. What's a little awkward is that they have graded a few cards. One of the employees actually admitted that those slipped out, so to speak, and now they're pausing and not accepting new orders. And we have several people here in the Collector Arthouse Discord that reported similarly that cards are being sent back to them. So just a word of caution, guys. That'll really makes things pretty interesting for the few copies that are already out there in the market. It's good to be first. But you just want to be careful. You don't want to, assume the risk of mailing your cards around unnecessarily to these grading companies if they're not yet accepting it. And I think the company has commented, Eric's Curios has commented that they're working on their partnerships, but nothing is ready to be announced just yet. So there's rumors of BGS. BGS had the cards in their database. That's why people started sending them in. People started sending in the CGC. There you go, another letter, not enough info available. So service unavailable. All right, so be careful. BGS doesn't seem to be accepting it at the moment, so keep an eye out. But join the Discord. There's a lot of active community members. You see I missed several messages here. I got to go get caught up later. But a lot of fun, interesting things going on. Also in the Facebook group. And now, without further ado, let's go to 130point.com. This is where we see the actual data from the sold listings from eBay rather than going to eBay itself. Because if you get a best offer, you got to go here to see what it actually sold for. So Sorcery, Contested Realm. We'll do a search. Let's just take a quick look first, like we usually do. How are we doing on time? 12 minutes? It's early. All right, so most recent sales first, and then we'll go to highest sales. All right, so the Gray Wolves, always a popular foil, $35. Someone actually ran an auction on that. It's funny for a low-end card to actually run an auction, but it's an ordinary. That's why I say low-end. It's not like a premium high-end foil like the Alchemy 9 or the Frazetta cards or Eric's Curiosa. So here you see things, see people packaging things in interesting ways. You have a lot of 9 cards, it looks like, non-foil elite sites. That one for about $30. A few different package deals, a few different avatars, $10, some of the low-end stuff. This is interesting. So Sorcery Contested Realm Alpha playset of all rarities, non-foil. Wow, so very few bidding activity here. So, the auctions are doing very well on the Collector Arthouse platforms at Sorcery Contested Realm Community Group and Collector Arthouse Discord. There's a large target audience. I have about over 800 members in the Discord and 2,400 members in the Facebook group. So that reaches over 3,000 people that are directly interested in Sorcery. On eBay, it's definitely more of a mixed bag. Some people are lurking and trying to snipe deals. But here, this is pretty interesting. Let's give this a click. What I'm noticing on this complete set is that this only sold for $4,400. It got 2 bids. I auctioned a complete non-foil set, and this says play set, so that's actually more cards. I just auctioned a non-foil complete set, just 1 copy of every card. That sold for $5,100, about a week or 2 ago? So here on eBay, you have a full play set. Let's give it a click and make sure it is indeed a full set. I want to read the description. So it says, here we go, complete play set of Sorcery, non-foil, 4 copies of the ordinary cards, 3 copies of the exceptional cards, 2 copies of the elites, 1 of the unique, 4 sealed box topper packs. All right, so there's some throw-ins. And there are no Curios. Okay, so the caveats, when you advertise a complete set, you should caveat that there's no Curios, no alt arts. Some people think those are Curios, some think they're a different category. No promo cards, right? So there's some dispute and disagreement over what constitutes a complete alpha set. Do you include the non-foil elemental avatars from the precons or not? Would a purist include Curios or alt arts or whatever may have you? So it's a complete set of non-foils, and it's a play set, and only got 2 bids, $4,400, and it's a pretty reputable seller. Not too bad, 266 sales, 100% positive feedback rating. So yeah, interesting. Not a lot of bid activity for a complete set. Let's see if anything else pops out as interesting before we go to highest offered. Here we go. We got a Philo Stone, August 9th. Okay, so this also closed the deal today. So someone posted a Philo Stone, sold for $7,800. Not too bad. It was listed at $8,500, $7,800 for the Philo Stone. Again, I auctioned a few of those. One sold for $10,000, one for $8,250, and the third was either $7,900 or $8,100. I remember it was right around that $8,000 range. So there you go. Someone just posted 8.5 and figured 7.8K was good enough to be sold. So that's another good data point on the Philo Stone. Seems to be holding around that $8,000 level, which is really phenomenal for a game that just came out. And but that's the iconic top tier card in Sorcery Alpha. Only about 248-ish cards or so expected of the Philo Stone. All right, so now we're sorting by highest price, and wow, $20,000 for 4 sealed cases. So that's not bad. I mean, that's about market rate, right? It's about $5,000 a case. That's about what they're going for. So box prices in that range. Okay, so of course the Brahm at 8.5 British pounds, so that's about $11,000. That one happened several weeks ago, almost a month ago at this point. Here's your $7,800 Philo. Someone packaged the Crusades. Let's see, Crusade and Jihad in foil, $775. Here you have another Philo Stone, July 29th. This one actually ran through an auction, and that sold for $7,300. July 29th. So that was a couple weeks back. So we're still in that, let's call it $7,500 to $8,000 range on the Philo Stone. And I think I covered some of these others recently. So one interesting thing that I'm seeing is that we don't have a lot of high volume on cases on eBay per se, right? So we had a case on August 3rd that sold for $4,485. There was one that sold for $5.8K, but that was on July 22nd. July 26th, 5.3. $6,000 on July 28th. That's about where it peaked, I believe. So August 3rd. All right, our more recent data points. This is the 9th, so 6 days ago. On August 3rd, $4,485. And then, interesting, another case sold for $5,950 that same day. Quite a bit of disparity there. So maybe there's some outlier data points in the below 5,000 range. It looks like, if you're looking for a value per se, under $5,000 looks about right. You're still getting sales between 5 to 6K. August 1st, 5,600. Trying to see if we have any other August sales. August 8th, $5,000 even. So the listing's a little skewed. I have it listed by highest price, but unfortunately it shows you by the list price and not the sold price. So I got to go fishing a bit. Here you have a case for $5,299 on August 4th. So again, in that 5,000-ish range, just kind of skimming. August 4th again. This one was auctioned, only one bid, $4,800. August 4th, 17 bids, $4,800. All right, so call it, if you get it for 4.8K to $5,000, it looks like that's about going rate. Fairly reasonable deal. Another August 6th, $4,700. So they're kind of settling in there. It peaked at 6. There were only a few data points at that price, to my knowledge. Kind of settled down 5 to 5.5, and now in the upper 4s. Maybe you could snag a deal if you find the right seller willing to accept a quick sale, or maybe around 5K is pretty reasonable. All right, so there you go on sealed product. We covered kind of the high end. Really, the high end, let's see, 19 minutes. For a couple minutes here, let's just talk about the state of the market overall. So let's get rid of the computer. I guess I don't really need the overhead cam. We'll just go face style. Oh, full face. That's scary. That's scary, guys. All right. So basically, what I see going on is that people over the past several weeks have been very eager to sell off anything they can to repurpose it and snowball it into more sealed products. So they seem to be wanting to chase the high-end foils. And when I say high-end foils, I think we're talking about the Philosopher's Stone as the king of kings. You have the Curios. That's kind of a category unto its own, so I'll set that aside for now. But from the unique foils, you have the Philosopher's Stone. That is the top end. That is the top foil, right? And then you have, I would say, the Alchemy 9, but really the Alchemy 5 are a bit of a tier above the 4 mixed cards. So you have the Philo Stone, the 4 core cards by Melissa Benson. And then the mixed cards are an elite rarity, so that's a slight notch below, but very highly meta relevant, so very coveted still. Most people want to collect that full A9 and not the A5, so to speak. Alchemy 9, Alchemy 5 is the lingo I'm using. And then you have people chasing the full Frazetta set. So there's been a couple full Frazetta sales. I think they've been around $16,500, and the bulk of the value there is the Frazetta alt art card of the Death Dealer. So it's a alt art, Curio, whatever you want to call it. It's considered in the Curio category or to summon alt art, and it's considered very rare like a Curio in any case. And that one is probably carrying a premium of about 6 to 6.5K is what they've been going on based on reports I've been hearing from private sales. Nothing public to my knowledge. There was one on the Sorcery Contested Realm Facebook group that I also created and managed with a few other admins. There was a person that listed the full Frazetta set, right? And that included the alt art Curio card, alt art / Curio, and all of the Frazetta foils. So you have the Death Dealer in the regular artwork in foil, the Courtesan Thais, and the Ruler of Thul are the 3 premium high-end Frazetta foils. And then you have the Vile Imp as the ordinary foil that also carries a premium compared to other foils, since those Frazetta cards will not be in beta. So that's your high-end. I think I would also include in the high end the Eric's Curiosa. That goes for at least a couple $1,000s. I think I auctioned one for about 2.2 or 2.5, I want to say, a few weeks back. So that was a very successful sale. Yeah, that's basically your high end. The A9, the Frazettas, and the Eric's Curiosa. So people are flipping money. There's probably great values to be had at the ordinary, exceptional, and elite rarities of foils as people want to churn those cards, raise cash, buy sealed, keep cracking sealed, try to get that Philosopher's Stone, try to get those coveted Curio or high-end alt art / Curio cards. In the Curio tier, I think what really stands alone is the Brahm card, because we had that $11,000 sale that really biased the market higher, because we have a very illiquid product because these are so rare. Again, there's only been about 15 copies. There's been about 16 variants of Curios found, and the most of any single variant found has been about 15 copies. So they're pretty rare, right? And they're pretty illiquid. We don't see a lot of public sales of those. There's been a few on eBay around the $1,000 level or so, maybe about $1,500-ish for a few others. So you have the Brahm card that sold for, $11,000. That really really make things pop off in Curio. Since they're so illiquid and so rare and so few data points, they're really hard to value. People always reference that $11,000 Brahm card when I'm talking to them individually about how they value their Curios, and trying to make some deals myself and make some things happen. The next tier, I would say, the Brahm and the Frazetta Alt are clearly the top 2 cards, top 2 most valuable and coveted Curios. I think the sketch card, which I previewed at the start of the channel, that's going to be coming up for auction here soon. That one is unanimously very popular and coveted. It is the Eric's Curiosa, which is speculated to potentially be removed from beta. We don't have that confirmed yet, but that's the going theory that may happen. So that's a very heavily chased card. It's the only sketch card we've seen so far, so that's also pretty interesting in that regard. And then you have the 9-piece card, which is very polarizing. Some people hate it. I happen to think it's really cool because there's 9 very historical cards, which I dissected in an article at collectorarthouse.com. You guys should go read that if you want to learn more about Curios. So that's like in the historical category. You have the 9-piece card. You have the Bloom of Frogs. The Entangled Terrain, which is called Grim Tangle, is a Curio card. The Belfry. There's several like that, right? And then you have like the alt art category So in the alt art, I guess, some would include the Frazetta Death Dealer. Some would include even Brahm, the Death Speaker. And then, but really, in that lower tier category, you have the self-same simulacrum, the mirror realm. That's a unique, so that might be valued a little higher, perhaps, than the self-same. That's an elite. And then you have other cards like the devil's egg, which is kind of I would categorize that as historical and not an alt art, because that is actually one of the early versions of the paintings that Brian Smith did for the game. So that was really, really cool to see that come through. I'd like to see a few more of those so we can really see that art development history, like I like to document at collectorarthouse.com in the behind the art section. So those are kind of like the breakdowns of rarity. Some of those alt arts are pretty coveted, like the Mirror Realm. I think I thought I heard of like a sale in like the 2 to 2.5K on that. I was really surprised because I thought the historical cards really is what's special to me as a historian of the game, and something that I think will hold longer term intrigue and value. Although, the Mirror Realm is a playable card, so is the self-same Simulacrum, so is the Death Dealer technically. So and the Braum card, so maybe there is a premium on the playable cards. I don't know. They're illiquid. All we could go is on very small sample size, few data points. But follow the different marketplaces, follow the Collector Arthouse auctions to get an idea. I auction mostly the high-end cards. I do breaks of booster boxes, alpha booster boxes, alpha sample cards. They're not really alpha, they're pre-alpha, the sample packs. But I'm auctioning a lot of the high-end cards, and I got some Curios coming up. So we're going to have more sales data points. I think that'll be a great public service to the community to kind of get more information out there, see what people are willing to pay for these cards. So if you are a Curio holder, you will have a better idea of what the market is. And I kind of grimace and smile at the same time on that, because I would love to own these Curios, but I'm getting rapidly priced out of those. And these auctions don't help my own cause in that regard, because I want to own them, but, people are chasing them hard. So we'll see how those do. There's a lot of artist proofs coming up too, from several different artists that I'm working with, over a dozen artists in Sorcery I'm working with to help with sales of original paintings and artist proofs, and promote, most importantly, promote who they are as people and their artwork, and hopefully make it more, appreciated and valued ultimately. Create value for the artist and for the community, because we want our collections to be valuable, because it makes it more special. It's rare, and it's art. It's miniature art on a card, which is what's better than that. Other than original paintings, that's the next best thing. So they're really fun to collect. And I thank everybody for supporting the artists and supporting Collector Arthouse platforms. I want to give a shout out to Louie from Kitchen Table TCG, who always says, be kind to the people around you. There's always a lot of negativity, toxicity, in TCGs, unfortunately. You got to take the good with the bad. But this is a game. It's supposed to be fun. Let's have fun together. Have fun collecting. I'm a painting guy and an artist proof guy at heart. I love the Curios too. Other people are more into the gameplay, more into the foils, whatever. To each their own. Have fun. Play the game. Collect the game. Do whatever you want. Don't let anyone tell you how to enjoy Sorcery. Enjoy it in your own way. And thank you guys again for following along. Thank you for hanging in there for another long video, as some say. Standard protocol for me. I like long form. All right, so stay tuned for a sample break soon after we sell those last 2 slots. Stay tuned for some artist proof opportunities and for some amazing Curio auctions coming over the next several days and weeks. Check in, go to Linktree, join all the platforms. Thank you guys, appreciate it. Please like and subscribe and share the video. Take care.